My dear friends, welcome to Rajashekar classes on Applied Data Science with Python. This is lecture number 297. In this lecture, we will try to understand decision surfaces. This is one of the important concept. Decision surfaces in k-nearest neighborhood algorithm. I will try to explain these decision surfaces with a very nice example. First, I will explain these decision surfaces with outputs. First, I will show the outputs. With the help of outputs, I will explain. After a few lectures, I will explain the code. Just wait for few more lectures, 2 or 3 lectures. After 2 or 3 lectures, we will discuss about the code. Is simple and straightforward. You need not worry about code. I already created a folder in which I have 9 data sets. What are those 9 data sets? These are the 9 data sets. I will show all these data sets: U-shaped data set, concentric circle data set, and linearly separable data set, outlier data set, overlap data set, XOR data set, two spiral data set, random data set. All these are the data sets. With the help of these data sets, we will try to understand how decision surface changes as k changes. We have created bunch of these data sets. Basically, there are 9 data sets. I can say all these are toy data sets. Basically, these are toy data sets. Basically, all these data sets are CSV files. Well, I will explain all these data sets. First, let me start my discussion with one particular data set. Let me take overlap.csv file. Anyway, as I told you, I will discuss about this particular code. First, let me explain decision surface with the help of output. Instead of explaining code, I will spend time in explaining code. Time being, I will explain outputs as I told you earlier. This is a file, overlap.csv file. We will try to understand this particular file, this particular output. Let me show this output in separate slide. This is the output. Let me say like this. Yes, here, if you observe carefully, this overlap.csv file, we have 50 points of each class. We have 50 points of red and red class, 50 points of blue class. Now, what I am doing here is take 50 red points and 50 blue points as my training data. Otherwise, let me write my 50. I have 50 red points. I have 50 blue points. Let me say there are 50 red points and 50 blue points. This is my training data. This is my training data. I can say this is dtrain, isn't it? And if this is my training data, now what I do here, I will take each of these points. Let me say, these are the query points. Let me say this is one query point, this is one query point, this is another query point. I will keep all these as query points. These are the query points. Let me assume these are the query points. I will take each of these points. I take each of these points in this whole grid. Let me say this one is grid. I will take any of these points as test data or query point. Let me say these are test points, or let me say these are query points. I ask myself, given this point, this query point, what is its class label? So I do the whole grid. Every point, for every point, I ask the question, what is the class label for each of these points? Take them as a grid. In this grid, I am keeping different test point, different query points. So what I am doing here, I am creating grid of points. I can say I am creating grid of points, isn't it? Grid of points, and each point in the grid, I am making it as a query point x cube. This is my query point. All these crosses indicates query point. What is our intention? We have to identify class label of these query points, isn't it? Using this data as training data, as I told you, 50 red points, 50 blue points. This is my training data. Now I try to figure out what is the class label for each of these points, for each of these classes. What is its class label? That's my intention. For each of these points, whatever class label I will get, I will color it, isn't it? If you observe carefully, let me show like this. Let me say like this. If I have a query point here, what is my one nearest neighbor? One nearest neighbor is red point. Therefore, I will color it as with the red color as k equal to 1. If I take point somewhere here, this one nearest neighbor is blue color. Therefore, I will color it as blue color. If I take any point here, this one nearest neighbor is red point. Therefore, I will color this region as a red point. This whole region, if you observe carefully, this whole region is red region, isn't it? This is red region, whereas this whole region is blue region. This one is blue region. Just observe. This whole region will be red. Whereas this whole region will be blue. Means point anywhere in this region. Take any point here. Point anywhere in this region will be red, isn't it? It's clear. If a point anywhere in this region, that as we are considering one nearest neighbor, it's blue. That's how we constructed it. I will go through the code for how we constructed this visualization after a few classes. As I told you, I will discuss the code. Time being, just understand the outputs. Then you can understanding code is simple and straightforward. This data set is such that there is some overlap. Just see, what is my red points? Just if you observe carefully, this is my red points. What about my blue points? These are my blue points. There is some overlapping region. That's why this data set is known as overlapping data set, isn't it? Blue class, there is some overlap. There is some overlap in blue class and red class. Now what we are saying here is, given this overlap data, how does the decision boundary change? How does this red and blue areas changes as k value changes? That's our intention to understand. One thing to note is, if k value is 1 in this whole red region, just see, if k value is 1 in this whole, this is the red region, isn't it? If k value is 1 in this whole red region, because there is one blue point here, just observe here, in this whole red region, there is one blue point here, isn't it? That, let me say this is a blue point. If you say this is a query point, this is a XQ, this is a query point, the query point becomes blue. Why? Because we are considering one nearest neighborhood, isn't it? Because we are looking at one nearest neighborhood, there is one blue point. Just see, there is one blue point here. There is one blue point here, which makes whole region blue. Because of this outlier point, this whole region becomes blue, isn't it? Because of just one point, whole region has becomes blue. If you speak strictly, that is an outlier point, isn't it? And this point was outlier. If I have a query point here, as I told you, if I have query point here, it is just misclassified. One nearest neighbor, just because of one data point, my whole area here got, because of this particular blue point, my whole area got marked as blue. This area marked as blue, isn't it? This is one point. Similarly, if you observe carefully, because of this just one red point, this region is marked as red. isn't it? Because as k value increases, let's see what happens. For k equal to 5, this is the case for k equal to 1. What about for k equal to 5? As k, just remember, just understand this decision surface. Just see here what happens for k equal to 1. This is for k equal to 1. Because of just one blue point, this whole region is marked as blue. But as k increases, for k equal to 5, just observe for k equal to 5, this you cannot find this particular blue region. Just see, here you have blue region, but where here you don't have any blue region. Why? Because k equal to 5 means you are considering 5 nearest neighbors here. In that case, there are 5, automatically this particular region becomes, this particular, as k value increases, this region, this blue region becomes red region. What is this blue region becomes red region? Because we are considering k equal to 5. As k is increasing, as I told, as k value increases, let's see what happens for k equal to 5. This whole region becomes red. This whole region becomes red. Earlier for k equal to 1, it was blue, isn't it? For k equal to 15, just observe for k equal to 15, it becomes more sensible, isn't it? It's more sensible. What does it mean? As k value increases, your decision boundary becomes much more smoother. For example, consider for k equal to 30. Just see, for k equal to 30, your decision boundary is much more smoother one. This is smoother decision boundary. As k value is increasing, your decision boundary becomes much more smoother. Now I can say, now it says all the points on this side, all the points are red here, whereas and all the points this side are blue. As k increases, I can write, let me write it, otherwise let me write it. How can I write? So, as k increases, your decision boundary, as k increases, your decision boundary becomes smooth, isn't it? Your decision boundary becomes smooth. The smoothness of decision boundary, let me write dB, decision boundary increases as you can expect, as you can expect, isn't it? For k equal to 1, because of one outlier, just say, for k equal to 1, because of one outlier, the whole region becomes blue. This whole region becomes blue. Impact of outliers also decreases because of one, as k increases, impact of outliers is also decreasing. For k equal to 1, one outlier, because of this one outlier point, this whole region becomes blue, isn't it? There is one more major problem with the KNN. If you observe carefully, for k equal to 30, if you take any query point here, let me say this is my query point. If this is query point, there are no points which are close to it. There are no points which are close to it. Since all the points are far away from this region. Since k equal 30, we are searching for 30 neighbor points. As majority points are 30 points, we are marking it as blue. But if you speak strictly, your data is here only. This is my data. Here you don't have data at all. In this region, in this particular region, you don't have data at all. So in dtrain, there are no points in this region, in this shaded region. In dtrain, In D train, there are no points, but still we are assigning some color, isn't it? So in D train, there are no points at all in these regions, in these shaded regions. You have data only here. You have data here only, but you don't have data here. In this portion, you don't have data, but still it is assigning some color. This whole region got marked as blue. This even though it's not having data, this whole region is marked as blue. This whole region is marked as blue. It is marking one class or other class. I will write it's marking. It is marking. It means, let me rewrite it again. What's the difficulty here? KNN is marking. KNN is marking one class or other class. One class or other class means either blue class or red class, I can say. Even there are no points. Even there are no points. Even there are no points. Just see, that's what's happening here. Here you don't have. Here you don't have points. 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 But still it is assigning some color. As k increases, it is much more smoother. Just see, as k equal to 50, this decision boundary becomes much more smoother. I request all of you to go through this code. Anyway, as I told you, I will explain the code. You don't worry about code. Play around this. Just change k values and observe decision surface so that you can really understand how decision surface changes with the value of k. This is a data set. Related to overlap.csv file. In my next lecture, I will discuss about decision surfaces with other data sets. After completing all these 9 data sets, I will discuss about code. Code is so simple, so straightforward. Thank you very much.